Shalom Ebracha, Guten Chodesh, Chodesh Shvat, and we would like to continue from last week. We pointed out how the Geula came in the schiz of Shmiras Taras Mashpacha, Hilchos Nida, and Kedushas Bayis Yisrael. Last week we mentioned that it says that one of the schusim, the Yidden had a Geula, was because they were Shomer Taras Mashpacha, Hilchos Nida, and they didn't intermarry with anyone. And we brought from Chazal that Hashem brought the Makif and Dam to take Yidden out of Mitzrayim. For what reason? Because the Goyim, the Mitzrayim, try to keep the Yidden from being Tovel in the Mikvah, from Dam Nidus. And because of that, Eibishter was a Makif Dam. Obviously, that goes with this, that the Klal Yisrael is Moise Nefesh, and the to keep that Maila of Kedushas Yisrael and Taras HaMashpacha, even though they were goys on it. So in that schus, Hashem punished the goyim what they try to keep it back from the Yidden. Also, we mentioned Barichis, Yechanya HaMelech, that was, it says in the pasuk, Vayas hara be'einei Hashem, he did evil in the eyes of Hashem, and his generation, all the Chashav Yidden went into Galus to Sanhedrin, and everyone went with him to Galus, and he was locked up in a cell by the king, and Chazal were worried that the Malchus B'Davas is not going to be nimshach further, so they managed to convince his wife, to convince the king to let him have relations with his Yechanya HaMelech, to have relations with his wife, and they let down his wife into the prison cell, and when they let him down, she saw Damanidas. So he said, not now, and she went and she was Shomer Zayin Nikim, she was Shomer Nidus, and she came back, and from there was born Zerubbabel, and Hashem said in this chus that even though you were in Shomer Hilchos Nida and Galus, in the times of Beis HaMikdash, and now you're repentant from that way, so this chus, Zerubbabel is going to be the one that's going to bring the Yidden, build the second Beis HaMikdash, and he'll be there to help the Yidden go out of Galus to the second Beis HaMikdash. And besides that, Hashem was Moichel Yechanya and all his Averis. So I would like to continue this idea of that the schus of being Shomer, the Hilchos Nida, Klal Yisrael goes out of Galus. Everyone knows what Chazal say, that b'schus נשים Tzedkniyos Nigel Yisrael, b'schus of the Yiddish Heilige Nashim, the Klal Yisrael went out from Galus Mitzrayim. What's the famous story? That the Yidden were working very hard in Mitzrayim a whole day from the morning until night, and they had no koich, they were working slavery, tremendous hard work, very, very hard work, and the wives went to get some water from the wells, and they would let down the buckets and take out some water, and Hashem made nisim that there would come a lot of small fish would come up into the buckets. Besides the water, it would be a half a pail of water and half a pail of fish, and they would make hot water, and they would cook the fish, and they would bring it to their husbands in the field, and they would make them get more koyach, and they would wash them and clean them, and then they would get dressed and beautify themselves, and they would take the mirrors and show their husbands in the mirrors, compare themselves to their husbands, and the husbands would be in this odor, and they would get tempted to be with their wives, and like that they had relations over there in the fields, and through that they had children, and those children, there was a major nisim, they got pregnant and they had children, and they were scared that children were going to get killed, so they brought them back to the fields and they put them under the trees, and it's famous, and they would get, when the tree would see them, they would try to come and get them, they would go under the ground, and then they would bring the plow to plow the land, and they would go deeper, and the malachim brought them to eat honey, and so on. And when they would be big enough, they would come in groups of Bachrim and Psulos that would come in back to Mitzrayim, all big enough to go on with life. And Chazal say these children were the ones that said by Kriyas Yamsuf, Zekel Levanveyo. And so because of these Nashim Tzedkanios, that they created a whole nation of Klal Yisrael, and discuss these Nashim, Klal Yisrael was Nigel. And the Gemara says that the Nashim are Mechiv and Dalat Kaisis and the Nai of Seder, because they were also on the Ness. The Rashbam explains what does it mean they were also on the Ness. They were also that this Gemara, that the Schus, and their Schus Klal Yisrael when they have Golos Mitzrayim, and that's why the Mechiv and Dalat Kaisis. And everyone knows that these mirrors that they used to entice their husbands was used for what? Was used for the kiyar. Was used for the kiyar. And Moshe Rabbeinu originally didn't want to take it. These ladies brought these mirrors, and they didn't want to take it. Such mirrors that were used to entice the husbands. This is for the Beis Mikdash. I says no, faket. I want this. This is what I like. They created the new generation that we took out of Mitzrayim, and in Meschus that we went out of Mitzrayim. I want that should be for the kiyar. It's fascinating to think about this. That this kiyar, what Moshe Rabbeinu made was with them in the Mishkan 40 years, in the Midbar, and was with them another 400 years. In the Mishkan, the two Mishkans which Klal Yisrael had in Shiloh, in other places, Noiv and Givoin, and then this kiyar which they washed, this kiyar was with them in the Beis Hamikdash, the Shlomo's Beis Hamikdash, for another 400 years. In total, it was like around 900 years, which Moshe's kiyar, which he made from the mirrors of these Nashim Tzedkanios, was with Klal Yisrael. And what was this kiyar used for? This kiyar is used for that any kohen that wanted to come into the Beis Hamikdash, they had to first wash their hands and feet. Kiddush Yadayim v'Raglayim. They would not be able to enter the Beis Hamikdash without washing their hands and feet. And this kiyar, and if they would Chas Hashem do the avodah would be puzzle, and they would be chayiv misa b'dei shemayim. So let's think about this: that no kohen, not a Haran kohen, no kohen gadol, no one was able to enter do the avodah in the Beis Hamikdash without using the kiyar from the Nashim Tzedkanios of Mitzrayim. Fascinating thought. The Nashim weren't able to do the avodah in the Beis Hamikdash. Ladies can't do the avodah in the Beis Hamikdash. But what? Every kohen, before he came into the Beis Hamikdash, before he did a avodah, he was not able to start his avodah without washing his hands and feet from where? From that kiyar made from those mirrors of the Nashim Tzedkanios in Mitzrayim. What does this show us? Hashem wanted that the Yidden, the Kohanim in the Beis Hamikdash should understand where does the kedusha of the avodah come from. How do we have the schus to do the avodah in the Beis Hamikdash, which is the ultimate schus of Kirvus Hashem? From where does this schus of Kirvus Hashem come from? That Klal Yisrael's nechnas tachas kam fe'eshchina to do the avodah in the Beis Hamikdash. This schus is the schus Nashim Tzedkanios Nigel Yisrael. Yes, it's true. You're coming to do the avodah in the Beis Hamikdash, and you become very close to the Bnei Shalom. But from which koyach was this? This koyach comes from the Nashim Tzedkanios that were Meis Nefesh to remind Klal Yisrael in Mitzrayim. They brought down this koyach, and you can't do the avodah in the Beis Hamikdash without that koyach. And every kohen understood that when they came to Beis Hamikdash, that they can't do the avodah without this koyach. But in this topic, we find I want to tell you is the Moedige Zohar Kodesh that adds to this famous Gemara. That the Zohar Kodesh says that the Yid in the Mitzrayim were shomer from three averos. Number one, they were shomer for nidus. Number two, they were shomer they didn't intermarry. Number three is that they didn't kill the children. The pregnant woman didn't kill the children, and those are the three things. And then they bring a makar for everything. How do we know that? And the Zohar Kodesh says, how do we know they were shomer nidus? So the Zohar Kodesh brings down this Gemara, this topic, that it says that they made the nechoshes from the mirrors. It says in the pasuk, we ask kiyar nechoshes es kana nechoshes b'maris hatzayvus. They made the kiyar and it stand from the nechoshes from the mirrors from the ladies that would come to the Mishkan. And the Zohar Kodesh says that Zohar Kodesh says that, how do I know that? How do I know there was Shem in this? And Zohar Kodesh says the reason is because in Mitzrayim, after they went to the mikveh, they would beautify themselves and they would look in the mirrors with their husbands and they would be ma'or them to make peri v'riba, and through this they were zeich to the gula. From here we know they were Shem in this. So where does the Zohar Kodesh see over here that they were Shem in this? How do I know that after they went to the mikveh, they came to be ma'or their husbands in the fields? Number one is how does the Zohar Kodesh know that was because they were Shem in this? And number two is, what does that have to do with this whole topic? Because they used the mirrors to ma'or their husbands after the mikveh. That's why they used the mirrors for the kiyar. Where did the mikveh come into this kiyar? Like, yes, they will use the mirrors to build Klal Yisrael, to have relations with their husbands. But where does the mikveh come into here? So, number one, where does the Zohar Kodesh know this, that it was because of nidus? What's the makar? I think it's very simple, because the kiyar was a symbol of a mikvah. You couldn't come into the Beis Mikdash before you mekadesh yourself. Halachically, it's a machlokes in Chazal. If the kiyar has to be from a well water, even if you hold the water, you don't have to use a well water, which is kosher for a mikvah. Which is still. The metzius was that the mayim from the kiyar came from a well water, which is kosher for mikvah, and there's a shittus Ravid that holds that could be the Rebbe Shem don't hold like that, but the Ravid holds that you only let it use water which is kosher for a mikvah. It means it has to be actually water in the kiyar has to be kosher for a mikvah. So the kiyar's water was kosher for a mikvah. Now, why in the world do we use the mirror dafka for the kiyar? Beautiful. Where does that come in? You can use it for anything. You could use for other stuff in the Beis Mikdash. Why dafka the kiyar? So this the Gemara doesn't explain. Chazal don't explain, and the Zohar Kodesh understood because it must be in the schus that they used this mirror after they went to the mikvah. So if they used this was a tetzah from the mikvah. So if this was used as a tetzah from the mikvah, so when we'll use it in the Beis Mikdash, it'll be shayach. Will be used for something that was like a mikvah in the Beis Mikdash. What is that? That's the kiyar. But still, this whole thing has to have explanation. Fine, we now understand why the mirrors is used for the kiyar because it has to do with the mikvah, the one in Mitzrayim. But where does the mikvah come into this whole picture? Now, we already spoke about that the Yidden, the schus of Kedushas HaMikvah, Kedushas Taharas and Nida, they were zeicher for the Gula. But it wasn't just, that's not a identity for itself. The mikvah, that's one reason they were zeicher for the Gula, and the wives, they were the husbands to have children, there was another reason to have the Gula. It's not two different ideas of Gula. And that's what I want to explain over here. The idea over here is that it says in Chazal that why did Hashem make that the lady should have 7 days of nidus? What's the idea? And the idea Chazal explained nida because if a person's too much with his wife, he'll end up not appreciating her. If you eat pizza every night, if you eat chocolate every day, you end up being disgusted from it. So you have to have some type of time which you time out, and then that brings back the passion to each other, and then you go to the mikvah, and then you'll have, as I'll say, Amra Torah Tehei Tima Shiva, they should have Tumah 7 days. They should chaviva, Kadesh Tehei Chaviva Abayla Kshas Yisas L'Chuppah. Should be, in order she should be loved by her husband like the day of the Chuppah, so we'll give them a time out, and that time, they also each other, they will have to have relations. Now they'll focus on an intimate relation, which is not based on a physical pleasure. It's based on appreciating each other, understanding how they help each other, and for whatever all the other ideas. It's not the time over here, but they can focus on the main ideas of the point of the marriage, and that's going to build a love which doesn't have which the source of the love is not the physical part. And when they build that up, then she'll go to the mikvah. Then they'll use the physical part to enhance and make stronger that real, genuine, intimate love, and bring it out to its best. That's what I'll say. That is the point of why Hashem said that the lady should be on Niddah 7 days. And we find in the Chinuch, this that this is love, Hashem, we find many places in Chazal, Hashem wants there should be love between the husband and wife. At Kedei Kach, it should be like they should always have that love like the first day of the Chuppah. He says there's more to it. What is that? He explains in the mitzvah that of Shana Rishayna, that after the Chasna, for one whole year, the husband and wife, the chas and kala, should be with each other, spend time with each other for a whole year. They're not allowed to go. He's not allowed to go to war. He might not be able to go to work, out of town. They have to spend time with each other. It's a bit says there. Shana achas yeh nokal lebeisei. It has to be for 1 year together. And the Chinuch explains what's the idea. So the Chinuch says that the idea is that if they would go working, they would go do whatever they want, go to their own way, then their hearts are going to be empty. They're always going to be looking for more relations. They're not going to fill each other. They're not going to appreciate each other as much. You got to spend a year together, focusing on each other, to love each other, and build that up. Have a year, day after day, thinking about each other and being busy with each other like that. After, when it comes times of the year is up, that their hearts are filled with genuine appreciation and love to each other, that they're not going to be thinking about any other people. They'll just be interested in each other. So that is the idea of Shomer Rishayna. And the Chinuch adds something. That's not only that what it is. He says that through this, that they'll be intensely connected with each other. Then through this, if there'll be a real loving marriage, the only thing about each other, the kids that come out are going to be kosher kids, the kids that Hashem loves. And it says, through this, the world is going to find favor in Hashem's eyes. Meaning to say that the love in a marriage, and which we focus in the first year in order it should create a connection for their whole life. This will be the basis for their whole life, that even later they'll go out, they'll still be reconnected with each other. They won't need anyone else. That thing, what is that going to create? They create that it's going to have good children. Such a relationship creates good children. And the whole world is going to find favor in Hashem's eyes. So we're not just looking for a loving relationship with the husband and wife. We're looking for a healthy, loving, beautiful family. We want to create beautiful families. We want to create heilige families, kosher families. That's the tachlis of Shomer Rishayna. And that's the tachlis of Nidus. That if we'll have a loving family, we're going to have children that are going to come out that are going to be loving to Hashem. Children that everyone's are going to love. Kosher children, heilige children. And that is the idea of that. Why Nidus, the Shmir of Milchus Nidus in Mitzrayim, was so crucial, what it has to do to the Kiyar. Because what are we talking about? What was the schus Nashim Tzedkanיות Nigdal Yisrael? The schus was that they built beautiful families, they were in Mois and Nefesh to build new generations. But just having physically children is not enough. We want to have children which are Noisechein be'inei Hashem, Noisechein be'inei Adam, children which are healthy children, families which are beautiful families. So that has to start off with Hilchos Nida, that the love should be there, genuine love, a passion for each other. And with this, they started off with going to the mikveh, and they built a passion for each other. And then they went out in the field and took care of their husbands, built up their self-esteem, made them have a cheshik. And through this, the new generation, which said Zeh Kelev V'Anveyu, which came to recognize Hashem in Kriyas Yamsef, who put the whole Klal Yisrael to that madrega of Zeh Kelev V'Anveyu. What was that? Through the proper relations that they had with their husbands. And that all starts with Hilchos Nida. And that's why the Kiyur, which is the Kedusha to going into the Beis HaMikdash, the Kedusha which brings us to connect with Hashem, to do all the Avodah in the Beis HaMikdash, has to come from that Kedusha which the ladies created to build their family. Just like the ladies created Kedusha, a beautiful, genuine Kedusha to build a beautiful family, so too, when the Kohanim come to create the connection with Klal Yisrael, they first have to go through that Kiyur. Now, just end off with one more thing, that we find that that another thing was from the Kiyur was by the Soita. When someone wasn't sure if their husband, their wife, maybe had relations with another man, they would take water from the Kiyur and make her drink. And if she had relations, she would explode, she would die. If she didn't, she would have good children, she would have bracha. And that water came from the Kiyur. And the chinuch, there's a similar chinuch to what we said before. Shon explains the tachlis of the Soita, the Parsha of Soita. Regularly we understand that Hashem made the Parsha of Soita. Why? Because the Yidden should be scared to be over to have relations which you're not allowed to. But the chinuch puts a positive dagesh on this mitzvah. He says a different idea. He says that if husbands will have a chashash that their wives might be having relations with other men, they're not going to be love over here. The children are not going to be healthy children. They're not going to be good children. And we wanted to take away the chashad, the worry that the husband has, that their wife is having to do with has to do with anyone else. So Hashem made a nest in the time of Beis HaMikdash. The Nasan Lani Hakel Moifis. Hashem gave us a Moifis, Ladas in Zehanela, to us to know these things. More than any other nation that doesn't have this chus. In Mitoich Kachi says that through this, there'll be a love and peace between the husband and wife. And he adds off, our children will be holy. Will be fine children. Again, because a loving relationship creates a healthy family, not just between husband and wife, between husband, wife, and children. And according to what we're saying, it gets much deeper over here. That the reason why the water was used for the Saita from the Kiyur, because the Kiyur was made from the mirrors from those that brought the Geula. They brought the Geula in which way? That they were those that built a healthy, loving relationship and built a healthy generations through their loving relationship. So we want to make sure, we have a worry that this lady is not doing what those ladies did in Mitzrayim. She's actually destroying the family, she's destroying the house. So Chazal say that if there's nus in the house, the whole house gets destroyed. They are destroying the geula which the lady in the Mitzrayim brought. So we want to make sure that's not true. So we use that water that comes from that mikveh which was created through the ladies of Mitzrayim, which was around for 900 years around, and they used that to test this lady. If she was almost destroying them, that what the ladies did in Mitzrayim, then she would die. She can't have connection. She can't be part of this Beis HaMikdash, the Geula of the Klal Yisrael. But if she wasn't Nichshol, then she'll be Zeich de Bracha, because she was on the Zbar that she is going in the ways of נשים, Tzadkniyos, Negālo Yisrael. So she gets part of that schus of building the Shechina, bringing down the Shechina in the Beis HaMikdash and Kans Klal Yisrael. And that is, so we see from here how the Kedusha from Hilchos Nida is brings Geula and all the Bracha to Klal Yisrael.